In this video, I'll be discussing the ways in which my project, a music video, digipack and magazine advert created for the song Smile by Avril Lavigne, utilises and highlights the many codes and conventions of the pop-punk genre. I'll be doing this by comparing my own piece to existing pop-punk productions and products and seeing how they correspond or differ. Before the analysis begins, I'd like to point out the definition of pop-punk, which is as follows. Pop-punk is a fusion music genre that combines elements of punk rock and pop. It combines fast, punk tempos, chords, and loud guitars with pop lyrics and melodies. Starting off the analysis, the bright and colourful nature of pop-punk videos is something that helps the genre to stand out amongst any others, as it attracts the attention of the audience whilst also giving bold expressions of rebelliousness and free will. A good example of this can be seen in Nirvana's Come As You Are, where we are presented with many scenes of coloured overlays and neon lights. The use of such vivid colours and bright lighting could connote how the song is representing people's differences, and is literally telling them to come as they are, in the sense that they can be whoever they want to be and do whatever they want to do. The act of being oneself and not being made to do otherwise is a common impression in pop-punk, and I've represented this in my own video as well, using the effect known as crisp contrast to make the colours more defined against the backgrounds. This represents the protagonist and artist's desire to stand out and make her opinion and personality known. I used a similar technique when designing the ancillary task pieces, as I increased both the brightness and contrast of the original image to apply the same effect and make the pieces more eye-catching. Moving on to the composition of camera angles and what is actually filmed in pop-punk videos, I was able to find out that the majority of products in this genre contain live clips of the artist or the band performing, along with close-ups of the singers and commonly a narrative to go alongside it. This is done to engage the audience and help them connect with the artist or band on a more direct level, as well as giving a fitting story to represent the meaning of the song itself, whether serious or comedic. Avril Lavigne's Girlfriend presents this convention very clearly, using a mix of both performance and narrative shots to give the audience an energetic show and amusing story in order to keep them engaged. Furthermore, a number of close-ups are used throughout the performance sections as well, allowing the artist to, in a way, address the audience on a more personal level, and make an impression with what she's trying to say. In my video, I also used a combination of narrative and performance shots to provide the same effect, showing my artist in various different locations when performing, and using a number of different camera angles to make the shots interesting to look at. Like the example videos, I too used close-ups to show the artist addressing the viewers more personally, and this represents the desire of pop-punk in the sense of speaking out to the public and getting the attitudes of free will and spontaneity across. Though the idea of performance and narrative does not apply to my ancillary tasks specifically, the use of camera angles certainly does, and for each of my tasks I used a medium close-up shot in order to capture a clear view of the artist while also having the background visible for later use. The close-up does not necessarily show the artist addressing the audience, but rather portrays a clear picture of the artist instead, giving her an identity for the audience to look for, and to represent the kind of style or attitudes the album is implying. Continuing on from the idea of using both narrative and performance styles, another convention of pop-punk is the idea of having a montage of fast-cut footage, using narrative, performance, or a combination of the two to create a continuous storyline and sequence throughout. Again, these montages can be serious, comedic, or they can just display the story being told. Check Yes Juliet by We the Kings exhibits this feature right from the start of the video, cutting between a forbidden romance narrative and a lively upbeat performance taking place in the same instance. They cut between shots very quickly during the course of the video, and this helped the audience keep track of the story as well as experience the energy and enjoyment of watching the band perform. This method of fast-cut editing connotes an energetic and unconstrained mood of the song, and once again represents the message of freedom and non-conformity in actions and opinions. For my project, I made sure to follow a similar form in order to keep the pacing appealing and interesting to watch. Along with cutting quickly between shots, I made sure to keep the narrative sequence consistent so the story would be easy to follow and understand. This was also done to represent the fast-paced and lively tone of the song itself, which, in turn, symbolises the liveliness of the pop-punk genre as a whole. This leads on to the last convention of pop-punk that I was able to identify, the entertaining energy and fun-looking attitudes of the performance as they sing or act in the videos. Artists in this genre normally appear very humorous and down-to-earth in their videos or performances, and look like they're having a great time getting to sing their songs and project their views to the audience. This can be seen in the mise-en-scène of such products, specifically in the use of body language, facial expressions, and clothing choices. In Simple Plan's I'd Do Anything, the band displays a significant amount of energy in their movements, and their facial expressions in some cases are very exaggerated depending on the lyrics being performed at the time. This could connote their involvement and passion for the song and its meaning, and suggest that they are having a lot of fun filming or performing it for others. In addition, their choices of clothing, which could be identified as simple due to the plain t-shirts and shorts or jeans, can represent the idea of making a statement with such choices, giving the impression that it doesn't matter what you wear, as long as you want to wear it. This suits the genre to a T, as the main themes of pop punk is standing up for what you believe in or want to do and standing out when doing it. Even the other actors in the video represent this view, sporting brightly coloured hair, defined makeup and rebel-esque clothing styles that correspond with the genre. I attempted to reproduce this in my main and ancillary tasks as well, utilising the option of contrasting brightly coloured and dark coloured clothing in order to help them stand out, along with a number of choreographed routines and cheerful but passionate facial expressions to go with it. These helped show the singer's fun and bubbly personality, as well as indicating the comedic sides to performing and the enthusiasm that can be shown when singing about something you care about. As for my ancillary tasks, I also tried to convey this convention in the artwork used, shown by the artist's bright hair colour and the tints of brick wall contrasting with her dark clothes. This symbolises how she wants to stand out against and break through the conformed metaphorical walls of society, and represent herself how she wants to, an occurring theme in this genre. Though you can't see all of her face, her eyes glancing to the side and the smile on the piece of paper could be seen as a mischievous or playful glance of some kind, which furthers the idea of her fun personality. When looking at the digipack and magazine advertisements specifically, there are also specific codes and conventions to be followed in the process of designing and creating these pieces. For the digipack, it is expected to see a barcode, record label, website address, and album name and artwork in the design, along with a list of songs and credits to the people involved in making the album. An example of a digipack showing the majority of these conventions is the one for Paramore's album Riot, in which we can see an extremely intense contrast of orange, black and white colours in the artwork. This connotes an idea of rebellion against boring simplicity, as I mentioned in my previous analysis during the research stage, but could also represent an expressive nature and desire to show emotions and opinions as freely as possible. We can also see that the front and back cover contain all of the aforementioned conventions, including the barcode, websites, credits, label logo and a song list. With my digipack, I applied the same style consistently throughout the design, using the brick wall in the background of the cover image across all of the other covers as well. This consistency makes the digipack look more professional and appealing, and the inclusion of an original barcode, record label logo, website link and credits add to this authenticity, as well as the credits acknowledging those who would be participating in making the album. As for the magazine advertisement task, some of the conventions correspond with those of the digipack, like the insertion of a website, record label logo, and the mention of one or more additional songs in the album. However, there are also other aspects to consider, like the displaying of quotations from representatives of magazines who have listened to the tracks or seen the music video, and a release date to say when the album is on sale. An existing advertisement that exhibits the majority of these conventions is the one for Avril Lavigne's The Best Damn Thing, which contains bold text, vivid but consistent colours, and all the correct information regarding the product. My magazine advertisement too has the majority of these conventions, displaying the information and titles clearly across the whole image and using white and black font and shape colours to make them stand out. However, I did miss out the date of release for the album itself from the final copy, which could arguably suggest that the advert is less authentic and not as representative of a professional piece. Conversely, this does not make a large impact when receiving feedback from my target audience, as no one appeared to notice it wasn't there, so it could be reasoned that the advert may be successful regardless if it were to be used in an actual campaign. Overall, I believe both my main and ancillary tasks follow the conventions of pop punk and its industry to a high standard, and that I have been successful in developing and utilising these conventions to make my final pieces as effective as possible. I probably wouldn't go as far as to say they reflect a professional piece completely, since there are a few things I feel I could have done better during the design and production stages, but on the whole, I think the final tasks are a good representation of authentic products, and will be successful if presented to a wider public audience.